Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another Monday night fire, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach, Womalak Yabushai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent, and they're abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, zealous, diligent, and on fire, moving in a righteous spirit of our foremothers, zealous of good works. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And everybody tuning in live through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, Nigel Blends, Aka Rectitude, Hoshaya, Servant, 144K, Elder Dario Wash, Divinely Fashioned, Tazapa Yasha Allah, Yashayahu, Benjamin Youngwolf, and again, everybody else that's tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. Emotional and immature men will not make it. Man up. Emotional and immature men, they will not make it, right? This is a charge, a strong, austere admonition to every man that knows that he's an Israelite, every man that knows about this truth, every man that calls himself Yasha Allah, one of the sons of the Most High God. Doesn't matter what camp you in, doesn't matter how long you've been in this truth, doesn't matter how many precepts you've memorized, it doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account, doesn't matter how much knowledge you think that you have. This is a strong, a very strong, austere admonition to the men of the Most High. Now, again, the daughters of Zion, obviously, this is for you as well, for edification's sake, but the primary focus is to identify what men are emotional, which men are immature, and let those men know straight up and down that they're not going to make it, right? And we want to charge our men as you grow in the knowledge of the truth, as you become a repentant Israelite, as you put off the old man, you also have to understand that you have to reform your mind. And a lot of things that were acceptable, your methodology when it came to handling situations, how you dealt with women, how you dealt with children, how you dealt with your brother, how you handle finances, irresponsibility or responsibilities, right? All these things have to be reformed when you come into the knowledge of Yahweh Bashmi Awashai. Right, let's kick it off with Romans. Let's go to Romans chapter 12 and 2, first and foremost. Right, let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 12 and 2. It reads, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So as we transition into this truth, you repent, you cast off, and you forsake and confess the sins that you have done, and you reform your mind. The Most High's charging us not to be conformed to this world. We have so many negative examples and so many heinous examples of men, and we were taught by the TV, we were taught by BET, MTV, we were taught by Hollywood, the industry, your favorite rapper, right? Whatever rap groups you grew up listening to, whatever, man, right? You were taught by Uncle Phil, you were taught by Bill Cosby, you were taught by the guy from Family Matters. I can't remember his name, man. You were taught by all these actors, man. Those guys are actors, man. Deviants. Uncle Phil was a homosexual, man. The dude from Family Matters was a homosexual. Bill Cosby is an alleged deviant, man. These guys and the rappers and the media, they're not going to show you how to be men. So we have to, you can't pick up. Now, there are things, I'll say this, there are things that people say that are facts, about life, but it's not according to the precepts and the spirit. Right? So you want to transform and renew your mind according to how the men of God conducted themselves. How did they deal with adversity? How did they handle their emotions? Did they let their emotions control them? Did they control their emotions? Were they easy to what they say, dive off the deep end? Did they easily get enraged? Did they have control? How did they deal with their children, their wives? Right? How did our men act like men? And that's the first step of coming back to the Most High, is becoming a man of the Lord. This is how you renew your mind. You hit that reset button, and all that filth that you was adopted in, that you grew up in, as you were raised by this whore Babylon the Great, because that's who raised us. Yeah, I named all these different avenues of knowledge that we got in the world, but all of these things are offshoots of the great whore. So she's the one that raised us, man. You know, and we were raised up in folly. So now we have to prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And that's an everyday thing. You're testing and you're proving and you're showing Yahweh Bashmiah Rashai that you are now able to perform righteousness, right? You're now able to perform righteousness. Let's go to Isaiah, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. I want 46. It's like I put 48. Right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 8. It reads, remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. And our forefathers are clean, beautiful, perfect, mighty examples of being men. When I say clean, clean in the spirit. Beautiful before Yahweh Shemel shine their works, man. Righteous according to the law. So the Lord said, remember this and show yourself men. Right? A man is a man that fears Yahweh Bashmiah Shah first and foremost. A man is a man that knows how to love his brother. A man is a man that knows that he cannot sin in the eyes of his creator. A man is a man that knows he has to deal with his wife justly, and he has to take care of his children and raise them according to the laws and the statutes and the commandments. Right? A man is not, his manhood is not based on how many women he has sex with. His manhood is not based on how many pills he popped, how high he got, man, how much money he's getting. None of those things matter, man. All those things are vain and all those things are unprofitable, and none of those things will get you everlasting life, man. Right? None of those things will get you everlasting life. Let's go to First Maccabees, right? Chapter 2. And you got emotional men in Israel, man. You got men, they always want to fight. You got men, you know, you pull one precept and, right, you're trying to admonish and go into the law. They want to go live. They angry. They call you out your name, right? You got emotion. You got people who all they do is sit around and make videos about other men. There are no, or just videos about like damn content creators. No videos on repentance, no videos on edification, how to love your neighbor, how to serve the Most High, just emotional, just content and confusion. And emotional is beyond just a brother that can't maintain his temperance when anger arises, right? You can be emotional, which means you allow spirits to drive you and rule over you. Because that's all emotions are. Esau calls them emotions. Really, they're nothing but spirits. Anger is a spirit. Sadness is a spirit. Envy is a spirit. Childishness is a spirit. All these are different spirits. So if you're an emotional man, you're allowing demons to influence your behavior compared to you're supposed to allow the scriptures to influence your behavior. Right? This is First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse number 50. It reads, now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Right? And this is our father Mattathias speaking to his sons. After he slew the wicked ambassador and the man that sought to offer swine's flesh on the altar, and he rebelled against the king's authority. And he told his sons, be zealous for the law. And brothers that have sons, you're supposed to be raising up your son to be zealous of the law. Don't raise up your son and all you do is take him to his AAU games, right? His basketball games. right? Or you showing them how to play the video game, right? Or you showing them how to get women, right? You have to show your son how to fear the Lord. And that it's important to give your life for the Most High God. These things are important as men. If you're a man and you're not teaching your son, we have to question, are you really a man? Doesn't matter if you know all of the breakdowns and all of the precepts and God knows what. If you're not teaching that to your son on a deeper level, you're not teaching that to yourself. Because in the spirit, you're going to come back through him. Right? So you're doing yourself a disservice. Because your son in your third and fourth generation, you're going to be back on the earth. And you're not going to be able to retain anything. Because you didn't teach it to your son, to give it to his son, to give it to his son, to give it back to you when you come back on the earth. For brothers that understand the concept of regeneration. So you're doing your whole lineage a complete disservice. And you're neglecting yourself, man. It's a selfish thing. You know? It reads, call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. And it's important to read the mighty acts of David, how David could deal with adversity, how David had good behavior, how David was a valiant man, right? How David was austere, a man of war, right? When you read about David, let me get a quick precept of 1 Samuel, chapter 16. One of my favorite precepts about David, this 1 Samuel, chapter 16, I believe that's, let's start at 12. Actually, I want 18, Slakia. 1 Samuel 16 and 18. I'm going to start at 17 to get the context. And Saul said unto his servants, provide me now a man that can play well and bring him to me. Because remember, Saul had these demons on him, right? The Most High took the Holy Spirit from him. He sent the evil spirit to trouble him. And the men of the ancient world knew that music can put you in the right spirit. So they wanted a man that could play the harp well and was talented to take that spirit off of King Saul. This verse 18, 1 Samuel 16 and 18. Then answered one of the servants and said, behold, I have seen a son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and prudent in matters, and a comely person, and the Lord is with him. And these are beautiful characteristics, right? These are attributes that the Most High gave David, man. You know, he was cunning in playing, could play the harp. He was a musician. He was a mighty valiant man. You read about David, he could slay a lion, and he slew a bear. And he did it easy, man. He was a youth. You got brothers now, even in the world, amongst our people, man, he's scared of they're scared to go downstairs because they heard a noise, man. Telling they rib, go check it out. Right? Go see what that is. You got people scared of bugs. I'm arachnophobic. I'm scared of spiders. Right? You got brothers, they got, it's like, I'm going to get Amos in here. Shalom, King.
Shalom, King.
Shalom, all praise to the Most. How you feeling?
I'm cool through the spirit. How about yourself?
I'm enduring, man. Fighting a good fight. All praise to Yahweh Shemi Awashad.
All praise to Yahweh Shemi Awashad.
Con. So you want to be a mighty, valiant man. You want to be brave. You want to be courageous. You want to know how to stand up for righteousness, right? You want to know how to make decisions that protect you and your household. And you want to be a man of war. All of our fathers were men of war. Even the prophets were men of war. Elijah was a man of war. He slew all those false prophets at the brook Kidron. Samuel was a prophet. He was a man of war. He hacked up Agag, the king of the Amalekites, in pieces. Right? So you want to be a man of war, man. You want to know how to defend your family, defend your brother, you know, defend yourself if it comes down to it. And you want to be prudent in matters. When you're prudent, you're able to foresee evil before it happens, right? Even, you know, in your household, right? It might be a feast day coming up and you start putting your money together, right? You might have this savings account. You got this money lined up over here, right? You got this thing prepared for this event. Here's where I'm going to hold on to this in case, a rainy day happens, right? So you're prudent in matters. You're able to foresee evil before it happens. A lot of brothers' households are calamities because they're ill prepared and they procrastinate and they wait to the last minute to get things done or to pay things off or whatever the case may be, and they can't take care of it. And now they calling 50 other brothers to get help because they were not prudent in matters. They were reading Revelation. It was in Daniel, but in the practical world with your household and your affairs, you didn't take counsel and you are not prudent in your matters. Don't be the brother that's foolish in his decision making. He's hasty, he rushes, he doesn't take counsel, nothing is in order, and he's a wingmaster. And he goes wherever the wind takes him. Right? These are characteristics of our fathers that were men. They were zealous of the law, they were prudent in matters, they were mighty, valiant men. I'm gonna go back to this, I'm gonna jump down. Right? As you read the rest of this, the speech that Mattathias gave, he gave beautiful examples of manhood. Right? I'm gonna read a little of this. First Maccabees 2:52. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? And Abraham was a man of the Lord, a man of the Most High, is faithful in temptation. When there's wickedness, wicked woman, you get put into situations where people try to compromise your integrity, spirits try to work on you. A man of the Most High, he's faithful to the Most High. He stays loyal to Yahweh Bashmi Abashai, no matter how much his flesh wants to be disloyal. The flesh wants to be disloyal and go to hell off, but the spirit has to be faithful through discipline. Right? And that was a reason why the Most High imputed righteousness unto Abraham. Verse 53, Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. Right? And real men can deal with distress. And they're not going to sin simply because times get hard. Right? They're not going to say, you know what, I can't go out and do the work anymore. I can't go to camp because my job is making me work the Sabbath, and I just have to work the Sabbath. I'll see brothers, though. I'm going to pray for y'all while y'all out there. No, when distress comes in, you're going to keep the commandments, man. You're not going to eat unclean foods because your family's stressing you out around the worldly holidays. Right? You're not going to commit adultery because your marriage is rocky, or y'all are going through a rough time, you and your woman, and y'all kind of going through a hardship right now. So things are distressed, and now you dealing with prostitutes, or now you watching pornography, or now you dealing with masturbation, and now you looking at another man's wife and you're distressed. Right? And you're distressed. Real men of the Lord, they hold it down, for lack of better terms. They maintain their integrity and keep the commandment. Right? I'm gonna jump down. The Most High gives beautiful examples of our forefathers, but I'm gonna jump down straight to the point. This is First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 64. Wherefore, you, my sons, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall you obtain glory. And he gave the key example of what makes a so-called black man, so-called Hispanic man, and so-called Native American man a true man. You could be a man by gender and by the creation, but that doesn't make you a man in the spirit. You have men that are born with a rod and stones, but they're transvestites, they're effeminate, they're emotional, they have no integrity, they're irresponsible, they don't take care of their household. So being a man has to be defined, and Yahweh Shai has clearly defined what makes a so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American man a man in his sight. And that's doing what? Being valiant, and that means being mighty and bold, and showing yourselves men in behalf of the law. For by it you shall obtain glory. So being a man is you being mighty in the law and keeping the commandments that the Most High gave us. What you got it, King?
All praise to the Most High. Right, let's go to Proverbs chapter 13 and verse number 16. Right, and like we was going into last week, Everything pertaining unto a man is based upon how he keeps the law, statutes, and commandments, right? How he deals with his brothers, how he deals with his family, how he moves and interacts when nobody's looking, right? There's always eyes on you, right? You're always a target, right? You got fringes on, you got a beard, right? Your light is shining. Somebody's always observing and seeing how you're moving, right? You want to make sure that everything you do is by the book, right? Like they say in the world, right? You get judged by the book, they gonna slap you with the book, whatever they say to
Right.
let you know that it's a way that has to be set and it's a way that a man has to move. And for us as Israelite men and you Israelite women, it's concerned or it's predicated solely on the law, statutes, and commandments and the faith, the charity, and the mercy that the Most High gives you. Right? This is Proverbs 13 and 16. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly. Right? A prudent man is somebody who's circumspect. Right? They always got their head on the swivel. They're always seeing the pros and cons of every situation. Right? And a lot of it's called emotional and immature men. Right? Men, you don't have the opportunity to be emotional. You don't have the opportunity to move off your emotions. Right? Women and children can do that, right? But men, you make one wrong move because you're emotional, you can overthrow your whole household. You can overthrow the ministry that you've been helping build up. So every prudent man is going to deal with knowledge, right? He's going to use the precepts to dictate and validate what's being said to justify his actions. He's going to use the precepts to move and not on his own accord and do things that he feels is right within his heart. Right? The Lord said that the heart is wicked. So any man who's using his heart, meaning his mind, right, to make emotions and he's not sitting down and weighing the pros and the cons, right, checking the balances to see if it's right, you're just laying up folly upon yourself. Right? You're laying that folly up for it to smack you in the face. Or like they say in the world, you're digging a ditch just for
Right.
you to lay in, or you digging a grave just for you to get into. Because a wise man who is a counselor is going to be considerate of all things. Right? Can we get that in Sirach, the 32nd chapter? Right? You're going to be considerate of everything. Right? It doesn't make you a overthinker because you're analyzing. No, it makes you a wise man. Right? Sirach 32 and 18. Baba Kishar. Right? A man of counsel will be considerate, but a strange and proud man is not daunted with fear. Right? A wise man is going to be considerate. He's going to take his time to think about how it can affect his household, how it can affect the brothers, how can it make Israel look in the long run. Right? A lot of people just do stuff just to do it. Right? Those are foolish people. Somebody asks you why you did it. Oh no, I don't know why. No, you're a fool. You have to be men of understanding. Our forefathers were men of understanding. Right? You can read about that in Sirach. You can read about that in Hebrews 11, where it talks about the how faith our forefathers did such mighty acts. Right? So you have to be considerate, but a strange and proud man is not daunted with fear. Meaning he's gonna do whatever the hell he wants to do and not worry about the repercussion.
Right.
Right? That's an emotional and immature man. Right? Immature man doesn't think about how it can affect the next person. They only think about me, me, me. Where do I benefit? How can I benefit? Right? Even when of himself he have done without counsel. Right? And we do a whole bunch of counsels through the spirit. Every time we give somebody a counsel, they go and do the opposite. Not all the time, but whenever they do it, they come back like, man, I wish I had listened. Man, I could have saved myself a lot of money or a lot of trouble, a lot of heartache if I had only listened. Right? And that goes back to what we was reading in Proverbs the 13th chapter. A cruel messenger, right? A cruel messenger coming to you. You don't want that cruel messenger to come into you and then you sitting there scratching your head like, how can I get out of this predicament? When the Most High has laid it down, right? Oh, yeah, let's get it. Proverbs 13 and 17. A wicked messenger falleth into mischief, but a faithful ambassador is health, right? Well, that wasn't a precept I wanted, but it goes hand in hand, but
17:11.
17, Proverbs 17:11, the evil man seeketh only rebellion. Now, that's this is what I was looking for. An evil man seeketh only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. Right? An evil man doesn't take the time to use the precepts. Right? They use the sensual feelings of this world. Right? They use the flesh to dictate how they move. Right? They justify themselves by the feeling in that present moment. Right? That feeling in that present moment isn't going to be there for you when you got to deal with that cruel messenger because you didn't want to take heed to counsel. Right? Because, yeah, we may be talking and we may be formulating thoughts in our mind and say certain things, but the preparation and the answer of the tongue is of the Most High. The Most High put it upon certain men to give you certain instructions that you should follow. And when it comes to the point of you not listening to the Most High, he has to send a cruel messenger. Right? You might break your leg at work. Now you can't pay your bills. Right? Or you may your car may get stolen. Right? Because like I'll use the analogy or the example the brother was using. Right? Things aren't going right at home, so you're looking at prostitution. Right? You go down to the middle of nowhere to go meet up with some chick. You come outside, 4 a.m, your car gone. Don't got your cell phone, don't got your wallet. You just out there. Right? That cruel messenger come to you. Right? Can we go back to Sirach, Baba Kashawn? And it's just that simple. It's just that simple for evil to befall you because you don't take the time to examine. You're not being prudent in matters. You're not being a man of reasoning and understanding, but you're being a little boy or acting like a little girl. Right? Verse 19. Do nothing without advice. Right? And that's the humility of being in this truth. Knowing that you can't do anything without advice. Right? We're not talking about to the smallest matter. You calling the brother, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. I've been holding it for 3 days. What should I do? No. Right? We're talking about matters that concern finances, matters that concern your health, matters that concern getting a new job, so on and so forth, moving. Always do something with advice. And when thou hast done, repent not. Right? So your mind is like 7 men upon a watchtower. You'll hear 1,000 different things in your mind. You'll justify yourself with this, justify yourself with that. But when you get that outside source that's examining the whole situation with you, you're able to see things that you may not have saw on your own. Right? That's why Proverbs 14 and 1, it says, every wise woman buildeth up her house. That's why, I'm not to be long with it, but when brothers have wives, stop just ruling over them and not taking into consideration the things that your wives may tell you. That's being emotional. If your wife is in the truth and she has understanding and she's looking out for the interests of her household, don't be emotional and immature like I'd never listen to a woman. Right? The Most High has put women to help men 1,000 times over in the scriptures. You got all the righteous sisters who was helping the ministry. Right, man? Stop being so proud and daunting and open your heart up to receive instruction and be prudent. Right? But you got it, King.
Yeah, now I want to pull up that definition to add to that immaturity definition. Right? Let me pull that up just to add to what you was going into. So immaturity is the state of not being fully developed, grown, or ripe, often referring to childish, irrational, or maladaptive behavior in adults, such as pouting or avoiding responsibility. It represents a lack of expected emotional stability, experience, or physical growth. Right? It applies both biological. It applies to both biological states and behavioral traits, right? Emotional maturity, acting in a childish manner, such as sulking, throwing tantrums, or whining when things don't go as planned. Behave and brothers are like this, man. I've encountered men like this, even with fringes on, right? Irrational. This goes into an irrational person is a person who doesn't make sound decisions, right? An irrational person does things based off of their emotions, like brothers are going into. They're here and now, right? They're here and now. They go out and off the whim, they go buy a house. They didn't let nobody know. They didn't let their wife know. They didn't let their children know. They just went out. They saw a house, took the money, all the money out the account, all of the savings. Boom, went and bought a house. Nobody knows. The house is damn an hour and a half from their job. The house is surrounded by the damn Confederate flags, you know. But this is the house got damn, 8 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. And the house is damn the basement falling apart, man. And then you find out that somebody else is living in there. That was part of the that's part of the contract you signed. That the guy still lives there with you. So now that's an irrational decision. You just go and buy a car. Brothers are immature in how they handle their finances, irrational. You don't know how to save money up, man. Put money to the side. Some people don't even know how to keep their hours at a job, man. People accrue hours at a job. They wait till they get 4 hours and they immediately take a half a day off. Then they have no more time left. Get 1 day, boom, take a day off. Now they wondering why they can't keep the Passover, why they can't make it for the Pentecost, why they can't keep the Day of Atonement, because they're irrational in their decision making, and maladaptive behavior in adults, meaning they can't grow. Mal means evil, and adaptive means you have the ability to change based off of the conditions that are played out around you. So if you're maladaptive, you can't adapt or grow or reason based off of how things are presented in front of you. And pouting, man. I knew a brother that would pout. Right? He would get upset. You would correct the brother, and his countenance would dark like it's like his what the scripture say, his countenance would be like sackcloth. And he would sit there and he would pout like this. And you have brothers that outright avoid responsibility. A brother said, I'm not getting the phone because I have to. A brother told us this. I'm not getting the phone because I don't want to pay the bill. Something along those lines. A brother is online asking for clothes for his family because the brother won't try to set himself up to bring more income in for his household. One brother avoided responsibility. You going to say something, King?
I was going to say, we knew a brother who would ask all Israel to send money for Sabbath snacks.
Yeah, Sabbath snacks, right? 1732. I need $9.29, right? All types of madness. These things, this is avoiding responsibility. Some brothers, too, they put themselves into situations and blame Satan. Oh, I'm in debt, $3,000. I can't pay this off. I need this off. Because, brothers, you don't want to get out of McDonald's, man. You refuse to put your hand to the plow and to set yourself up to be successful in a situation because you're scared of change. You avoid responsibility. You have all these credentials, all this experience, all this understanding, even in the world, to take care of your household, but you avoid it because of the responsibility that comes with it, man. Let me get a quick precept. That's an evil spirit, man. Right? You just want to do the bare minimum. This Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and 15. It reads, the labor of the foolish weareth every one of them, because he knoweth not how to go to the city. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. And why did the Most High say, woe unto thee, O land, when thy king is a child? Because they're not developed. They haven't went through what young princes go through. Young princes in the ancient world were trained by nobles. They had tutors that taught them how to write. They taught them the law, taught them mathematics, martial arts, how to use the sword. Princes were mighty men. They wasn't sitting around eating grapes, you know. So if you were a prince, you were put through a curriculum, for lack of better terms, in the ancient world. And then you would develop and learn how to be a king from your father. So in the event that your father passed, it would be an easy transition for the throne. Key example, David and Solomon. But when your king is a child, he's immature. He has no understanding. He refuses to go through the discipline of the curriculum, and he's self-willed. The land is going to fill it. Think about Rehoboam. Didn't Rehoboam get childish counsel in 1 Kings, the 12th chapter? He got counsel from the young men that was about him, that grew up with him. And that was detrimental to the land. The whole land got divided and the kingdom split. So if you're going to be in a position of authority, and brothers are responsible for many things and many people. If you have a wife and a children, no souls are in your hands. Every decision you make could be for their detriment and their destruction, or for their benefit and their blessings. It's up to how you make the decisions according to the Spirit. But I feel bad for brothers that may have families when a king is a child and the princes eat in the morning. Does that mean you can't eat in the morning? No, it means they're full of riotous living and drunkenness. Like the Lord said, woe unto them that rise up early to drink wine, till it inflame them, paraphrase. Verse 17, Ecclesiastes 10:17. Blessed art thou when thy king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season for strength and not for drunkenness. So this is, again, an example of Solomon, right? An example of Josiah, right? An example of Hezekiah. These men were the sons of nobles, top men, and they went through that curriculum. They learned the law. They went through the right channels. They went through the right protocol. They were taught by the priest. They were taught how to write the Hebrew. What is wickedness and what is righteousness? And the land benefited off of that in the days of those kings, because the princes knew how to be temperate. The kings knew how to eat in due season. They had everything in order, and it was for strength and not for the flesh. It wasn't for drunkenness. I know some brothers, man, they spend their phone bill money on a bottle just to show up to the feast day with a bottle. Then they ask brothers, I need $40 because Satan, right? Damn, Satan, I need $40. I'm gonna start questioning the brothers that say it's Satan all the time. Damn, Satan, can I get $20? Goddamn Satan, man. Can I stay at your house? Well, why, brother? What's going on? Satan. No, brother, what's going on? Satan. These demons. What does that mean? Right? Then you press the brother out and you end up finding out the brother is getting evicted, man, because he had been working for the last 3 months. But the brother show up with all new shoes, new jacket, fresh cuts. You don't want to be a niggard, right? A niggard. So you want to be a man that's in authority, that's for strength and not for drunkenness, man. Right? Let me get one more real quick. Even our Lord, the Lord says this in Luke, the 2nd chapter. You got it, King. This is Luke chapter 2 and 51. This is Yahushua. And he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject unto them. But his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. So all that Yahushua said, I'm about my father's business. Why are you looking for me? He told him the truth. Right? And his mother was meditating on those things. Verse 52 says what? And Yahushua increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. So this is a beautiful point about even our Lord increased in wisdom and stature. That's maturity, right? Developing, growing, and understanding what men are supposed to do and have, and what are your expectations? The expectations of a man are firmly established in the scriptures. And we have to show you what bad examples are so brothers can examine themselves and show you what the true standard is and the expectations are according to the law, so you can determine What resources and what time and what effort are you going to put into getting to where you're supposed to be? You watching this live and you're 40 years old and you're working at Burger King and you're staying in your mother's house and your grandmother's house eating chicken dino nuggets and applesauce and Welch's apple juice, and you refuse to do anything else, then you got to figure this thing out, man. If you're a brother that hates responsibility, your damn so-called boss, the manager's coming to you saying, look, man, we want to promote you, we want to set you up. Look, you don't have to work the Sabbath anymore. We're going to give you a $10 raise, but you're going to have a little bit more responsibility. No, I don't want to do that. Right? I just want to make boxes all day. Well, no, it's going to be fine. Look, we're going to set you up here. Nah, I don't want to do that. I'm going to think about it. Stop avoiding responsibility as a man. Stop seeing all these bills line up and just ignore it, man. Stop seeing your car break down and you don't want to take responsibility and get an oil change or fix it, man. Right? This is real life, man. We in the real world. These precepts are for you to navigate and live in the land of the living. These precepts ain't for you in the spirit world, man. You in the here and now. So you got to know how to operate in the here and now with the precepts that the Most High gave us. But you got it, King.
Con. Yeah, and men should hate complacency, right? Complacency is something that every man should, strive to get away from, right? Being complacent with just barely getting by. You're not Talib Kweli, right? You're not just to get by. No, you're here to not hate labor. Let's get that in Sirach 7 and 15. You can't hate laborers' work. Men talking about, I don't want to work at this place because it's going to be hard, and I'd rather just work at home and type on my desk all day. Oh, you got it, King.
Like it, Jake. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah, entrepreneur, and you ain't had no more than $25 in your account in 4 months, right? This Sirach 7 and 15. Hate not laborers' work, neither husbandry, which the Most High have ordained. Right? The Lord has set men up to live, eat, and bring forth abundance by the sweat of their brow. Right? We don't love going to work. Don't get us, confused. I hate working. I hate going to work. I hate having to clock in and clock out. But I do it because I have to. Right? We do it because we have to. We got mouths to feed. Right? And you got to think of the example that you set forth for your children. Right? Imagine your child see you laying up on the couch all day playing 2K. Right? Like the brother said, eating dino nuggets and applesauce. Like you just lost your baby teeth, man. Man up. Stop hating laborers' work. The Most High has ordained you men to get out and labor. Right? Pick up a trade, man. Can we get 1 Corinthians 16? And I'm going to start at 12, I think. Right? Get a trade, man. Work some extra hours if you have to. Yeah, sometimes bills may lap up. You may not have the means to pay it. Right? We're not trying to condemn brothers if they, if they falling on hard times or it's hard to make ends meet. But it's our job to motivate men that your household can have better. Right? It was one time my pops told me, he said, man, go get another job. You don't got to live like this is good times. You don't got to be bringing home $4.42 an hour. Right? He said, go look for something better if you need more money. I said, you're right. And this is what we're telling to men out here. If you need something better, go look for something better. Right? This is 1 Corinthians 16 and 13. Watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, be strong. So the Lord said, stand fast in the faith and quit you like men and be strong, not weak, not timid. Oh, woe is me. Woe is me. I don't know what to do. Yo, you just drove past 8 different warehouses on your way home. And it didn't dawn in your mind, let me apply to this. Let me apply to that. Let me go in here and talk to this person and see if they'll give me a job. right? You know, a lot of brothers doubt how the Most High is working with us, right? Shoot, I know brothers who got jobs and they wasn't qualified for it, right? I done got jobs by the skin of my teeth and didn't expect to get it. You know, men doubt how the Most High is working for you, and because of your doubt, you stay in the same position over and over and over and over and over. Right? Quit you like men and be strong, man. Be strong and take that punishment. Take that I don't want to wake up at 5 in the morning, but I have to for my family approach. If that don't make you get up, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. Seeing your sons and your daughters starve, and you sitting here trying to get the level 99 on 2K. You done dropped $700 on a man that you done made up in your mind, your dream man to play basketball, and instead of getting out and laboring to bring forth more for your household, right? Shame on brothers who move in such manner, man. Right, I got one more. Let's go to Luke chapter 14, and matter of fact, I'm gonna save that. Can we go to Titus chapter 2 and start at verse number 6, Baba Shah? And you know, we all had to be taught these things. We don't just wake up and know this stuff, right? You have to be taught this as a young man. Right? I'm not talking about 5 and 6. Young men is 21, 22, 23. You got to hear these things. Sometimes even 30. You need to be reminded that you can't settle. You can't just act like everything is good and go about your business, right? Because Satan is looming. Your car can mess up, right? Something can happen, and that job will let you go in a heartbeat. So you got to be mindful and prepare for things to come, right? So this is Titus chapter 2 and verse number 6. Young men likewise exhort to be sober minded, right? And that's the key, to be sober minded in these last days, right? Not too caught up in the ways of this world, not damn surfeiting and crazy drunkenness, right? You waking up at 6 in the morning just to get a bottle. 8 in the morning, you done finished it. So it's 9:30, you get another one. 12:30, you get another one. Right? You done flushed the toilet 15 times and it ain't even noon yet. Right? And all things showing thyself a pattern of good works, and doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity, and sincerity. So in all things you should be showing yourself a pattern of good works. Right? A pattern of good works is being reliable, right? Knowing that something's gonna get done. Knowing that brothers who are married, your wife don't gotta come wake you up because you ain't set your alarm. Right? Your wife going to work because you don't want to go to work. Right? We can only bring these examples up because we know men like that. Brothers got their wives working, paying for everything, and they just sitting at home. And when their wives come home, they clean it because they didn't get up off their you know what to clean up. That's not a pattern of good work. Right? Sound speech that cannot be condemned. That he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say. Right? So the pattern of good works, sound speech, right? That shows a man who doesn't lack wisdom. That shows a man who wisdom is dining with and dwelling with and increasing. Right? When I was younger, they told me people use swear words or curse words because they don't have the intellect to say something else. So that's why every other word is F this, man.
Right.
So on and so forth. You gotta have sound speech. And sound speech come by reading. Right? Not listen to the Carter 2 and Carter 3 all the time. Damn Boozy and Webby. Definitely not Boozy and Webby. Right? So young men use these tools so you can teach the young men under you. So you could be example to the young men under you. Because the more young men we got walking around like NBA Youngboy and these other goofy rappers, the harder it's gonna be to find those gems, those young men who do want to serve the Lord. Because everybody's gonna be looking at you like, well, hell, he does it. Why can't I? He got on fringes. I can be the same way. That's why we had not to be long with it, all this niggerdom going on in the truth. We had all this folly and foolishness going on in the truth. Because people justify other people's actions and say, well, if they doing it, I can do it. It's time to man up. It's time to set the example. And sometimes setting the example, you got to take the whips and bruises and bumps so the next person doesn't have to. Right? But you got it, King.
Yeah, that's right, man. And I want to get this in Sirach, the 33rd chapter, right? So most are willing, brothers, take heed through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, because time is running out, man. Time is running out, and you don't want to wait to the day of evil to you can't just snap your fingers and have integrity, right? Or be mature with a blink of an eye. You have to go through trial and error, shortcomings. You have to go through hardships. You have to go through good times. You have to, gain experience through these things. And you have to put yourself in situations where you can have the ability to gain those experiences, man, by endeavoring and for lack of better terms, taking the chances and trusting in the Most High, man. But this is Sirach chapter 33. And I'm going to read verse number 18. Hear me, ye great men of the people, and hearken with your ears, ye rulers of the congregation. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee while thou livest, and give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again. So, being a man is keeping yourself with a spirit of honor, right? A spirit of dignity, self-respect, self-worth, a sense of righteous pride amongst yourself. And you don't want to give anybody power over you while thou livest, meaning you never want to have somebody that has something on you, or they always got the one up on you, or they always have the upper hand on you. Rather it's money, or rather it's a situation, or you're at fault. You always want to put yourself in a situation where you have the upper hand and you're blameless in the matter, right? You don't want your son to have power over you, man. Right now, your son could blackmail you. He could hold things against you. You owe your son money. Your son knocking on the door saying, Pops, I need that. You rushing to go get it. He said, I really need that. That's a horrible situation for a man to be in. The brother used an example of brothers whose wives control, or work, and the man sits at home playing video games all day. Your wife now has power over you. And America teaches our men to be docile, effeminate, submissive. These are different spirits that the so-called black man, Hispanic, and Native American man has, man. Homosexuals, no backbone. And you can't have that spirit as a man. So your wife cannot have power over you. Right? Through the wisdom of the Most High, you give your wife power over the children and to guide the household in wisdom through empowerment, through the precepts and the spirit. Right? But your woman shouldn't be having power over you, meaning she has now taken the role of being the man. Right? You come into your wife and she takes her damn money out her bra, takes out, 10 20s and gives you a 20, man. And you go to the ice cream truck. And she puts the other in her bra. You ask for more, she say, I need that. I got a friend. I'm meeting up with a friend later. Oh, man. You say, oh, man. No, you can't have that spirit. Right? Have some dignity, man. That's what the Most High is saying. And don't give up all your goods to another, lest they repent thee and thou entreat for the same again. Right? Keep your possessions as yours, man. Everybody can't drive your car. Everybody can't stay at your house, right? Have a spirit of, like I said, dignity,
Wherewithal,
right? Everybody get to drive your car. You know, brother crashed your car. Man, no, brother, everybody can't drive your car. People at your house, they breaking stuff. They drank your wine. You gave your brother all your money. You let him hold this. You need have a spirit of reserve too, right? Have some reserve as a man. Don't just be all out there. And even your possessions and things that belong to you, that belong to you. Everybody shouldn't be able to just come to your house. You know, everybody shouldn't be able to just pick up your children, man. You know, don't be the brother. Everybody know the passcode to your phone. Everybody, they just pull up at your spot, man. Right? That's not a good spirit to have. I'm going to read two more. As long as thou livest and hast breath in thee, give not thyself over to any. You never become a slave to anybody else. Don't be a like the movie you watch, Mo Better Blues. When you see how I can't remember his name of the movie, but Spike Lee, man, he was like the manager for the band, and he was in a situation where he always owed loan sharks and people money, always on the run, always looking behind his back, always scraping to get money. He gave himself over to that by not being a man, man, by not controlling his spirit and his financial discipline. It reads, for better it is that thy children should seek to thee than thou shouldest stand to their courtesy. And you should never be in a situation where you're begging your children for money. Now, anything can happen. People fall on hard times. People get old. Your father could get sick. Things can happen. People fall into precarious situations, right? But that should be a one-off, right? That should be a rarity, an exception and not the rule, how they say. And all thy works keep to thyself the preeminence, and leave not a stain in thine honor. Right? Don't leave a stain in your honor. The Most High is into men with honor, integrity. These aren't words that are taught. When we were taught about honor in the world, we were taught like it was like a fairy tale, medieval knights. You know, they were the only people that had honor. I can't think of anybody that had honor that we were taught that were honorable people. Presidents, Esau, white men, his so-called fake gods, all those idols had honor. So we were never really taught about honor and the importance of having honor. But when you repent again, men should have some honor amongst themselves, man. Let me get this definition real quick, too. These are words that we have to make familiar in our households, man, for our sons, for us, you know, for the congregation. Honor is defined as high moral standards, integrity, or a reputation for fairness. It also means showing great respect, treating someone with distinction, or fulfilling an agreement. Right? Meaning, whatever you said you was going to do, you did it. Right? You said you was going to show up to the feast day with the food, you showed up. Right? You said you was going to do this, you did it. You told the brother you was going to be there to pick him up, you was there. Right? You told this person I'm going to do this, and you did it. You said I'm going to pay you back, you paid him back. That's an honorable brother. Part of being a man is having honor, keeping your word as a man. Me saying you was going to pay your brother back on the 3rd, and then it's the 13th, and he got to come find you to get the money. And you know it. You just waiting. I hope he don't say nothing. That's not having honor. You told the brother you was going to pick him up the camp, man. And you ain't picked the brother up. And now he kind of caught out there. Oh, brother, I woke up late. Oh, my alarm. That's dishonorable. You know? Have some honor about yourself, even your word. Your word got to be bond as a man of the Lord. You know? It reads, as a noun, it refers to public esteem, while as a verb, it means recognizing, praising, or rewarding someone. Right? And I want to get one more quick precept. This is Psalms 138. Let me think of this real quick. Right? This is Psalms chapter 138 and verse number 1. I will praise thee with my whole heart. Before the gods will I sing praise unto thee. I will worship toward thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name. right? So the Most High magnified his word above his name, meaning what? Just because the Most High, just because he's supreme and he's the Most High God, the Almighty God, and he is not going to um, switch up what he said just because he's the Most High. He can do it. He can do what he want to do. But the Most High is a power of honor. And he's not going to tarnish his reputation by saying he was going to do something and not do it. Now, he can do it because he's the Most High, but he put his word above his name. Some people put their name above their word. So you feel like you could just switch up everything you said you was going to do. I'm your husband. Yeah, we don't got to do that no more. Right? Well, brother, your word got just because you somebody's husband doesn't mean you could renege on everything you said you was going to do. Just because you somebody's father doesn't give you the license to go back on your word. Just because you've been in the truth longer than the brother doesn't mean that you go back on what you said you was going to do. Your word has to be above your name. No matter who you are, your word supersedes that. Because if your word don't supersede that, your name ain't going to mean nothing for too long. So a man of the Lord, think about your name, think about your word too, man. Right? And have some honor amongst yourself. But you got it, King.
Con. Let's go to let me back off that. Let's go to Psalms 37 and go to verse 23. Right? Honor, the Lord said a good name is loosely paraphrasing, better than rubies and riches, man.
Right.
A good name doesn't just come with what your name means in the Hebrew. Right? Your name means mighty slayer of nations.
Right.
Right? And that's just what it means. No, your deeds is what makes your name have value. Right? That's why people will associate themselves with you. Right? Somebody will say, oh, yeah, I know that brother Naquam, that, yeah, so on and so forth. Man, that brother got, X, Y, and Z history. And people will give them a pass or nod their head at them because your name is mentioned. Right? So make sure your name is good. Make sure you do the things that you're supposed to do so that people won't say, oh, you bringing this dude around again?
Right.
This brother, man, remember what happened last time? Right? Once your name gets dirty, it's damn near impossible to get it clean. Right? I can't even think of 1,000 ways you could get it clean.
Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to think of somebody who got a bad name in the world. I don't know. Epstein.
Right.
Let's say Epstein.
Yeah. Jay-Z.
Jay-Z and Epstein, man. It's nothing you can do. Say you can't buy your way into having a good name. But he's always going to be associated with that child weird stuff and all that. Nothing he could have ever done when he was in the land of the living that could change that. Right? This is Psalms 37 and 23. It says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Right? So the steps that you're moving in, they have to be directed by the Lord. Right? And you have to delight in the way that the Lord is directing you. Right? A lot of people are in this truth, and they secretly despise the things that they can't do, the abstinence they have to show, the integrity they got to uphold themselves with. Right? Those people are gonna fall by the wayside. Right? You can pump fake us all you want. Right? We'll bite on the pump fake, which, we're men. But you can't do that to the Most High. Right? The Most High give you over to your ruin. Right? Whether that be you, I don't know, you're a wine bibber. Right? You wake up sweating because you don't get any alcohol. Right? I seen a video on Twitter. The dude said my first day of alcohol withdrawal, he was shaking, face was red, he couldn't even hold himself together. The Lord will give you over to that. Right? Women. Right? The Lord give you over to women. Now you casting all your substance to him. Right? Tricking off. Going out on dates 7 days a week. Breaking the Sabbath to go on a date. Right? We had brothers who were leaving camp early because they had hot dates. Then
That's
we got
so like that's what they said. They said they had hot dates.
yeah, leaving
Right.
camp 4 hours early. The sun's still up. You got 4 more hours left in the Sabbath talking about I got a hot date tonight. So what? And lo and behold, that brother got overthrown by that. Right? Let's go to First Esdras chapter 4 and go to verse 26. Right? So pray that the Most High directs your steps righteously, and pray that you uphold that in the way that you should go. Right? Even the wisest of our forefathers fell. Right? What makes you any better than them? That's why the Most High gave us these scriptures for our learning's sake. So we don't stumble and trip at the same offenses as they did. Right? This is First Esdras 4 and 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Right? You got men who break their neck just to get validation from women, just to get the pat on the head from a woman. Right? You know, not to go off. Right? It's a video that was on Twitter. Dude was licking this woman's feet at a pool party. Just to get validation from that woman. Right? Just weird. Many also have perished and have erred and sinned for women. And now do ye not believe me? Right? So many men have died, right? Committed adultery, stole, lied, killed, just for the sake of a woman. Just for the sake of that, the brother was going into it earlier, having preeminence, just to get a kiss from a woman. Right? They got stories about that. The Odyssey with the Trojan War. Man, they went to war and killed massive men over one woman, right, in the story. Right? Look at the examples in the scriptures. You got Jezebel, right, in the king's ear, playing him for a sucker. Right? I know you want that field. Why don't you go get that field? Right? Yeah, I do want the field. The field does look beautiful. It's close here. Yeah, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you set them up. Now you got blood on your hands, right? And now do you believe me, Salaki? And now do ye not believe me? Is not the king great in his power? Do not all regions fear to touch him? Yet did I see him and Apamit, the king's concubine, the daughter of the admirable Bardicus, sitting at the right hand of the king. Right? So now you got a king and a concubine, right? She's sitting right there. They probably sporting. She probably touching his head, playing in his beard, right? And taking the crown from the king's head and setting it upon her own head. She also stroked the king with her left hand, right? She took the crown off the king's head and backhanded him, right, while he was sitting in the damn throne. Right, took it right off his head, laughing. And yet for all this, the king gaped and gazed upon her with an open mouth, right, just entrapped in his lust, just looking at her, right, getting abused and becoming a laughing stock. If she laughed upon him, he laughed also, right? And that's how it is. When you a simp, these women don't respect you, right? What they call them, beta men? I think you're on mute, King.
Get beta males.
Yeah, beta males, right? You soft men, right? They laughing upon you and you think they laughing with you. They laughing at you, right? But if she took any displeasure at him, the king was fain to flatter that she might she might be reconciled to him again. Right? So if she was like, oh man, what you doing? You know how a woman make that face at you, like they lift their lip up, like, ugh. Right? He bending his back just to get a smile back. Right now, you in the palm of her hands, doing whatever you want her to do, just so you can get validation. Right? That's a weak man. It's a weak emotional man, right? They say those men have mommy problems,
Right, right,
right? Mommy, I miss you. Mommy, I love you,
right, right.
right? Weak men. But you got it, King.
Yeah, that mommy may I spirit. Let me get this in this is like the 19th chapter. I'm gonna add to that, man. So, there's so much. The whole Bible is about being a man, right? And from Genesis all through the Revelation, there's so much that our forefathers did, and that's why it's important to read, man. It's important to read, about our holy patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? You read about Moses and Joshua, you read about the judges, you read about, the Most High set up Boaz and he set up David and all these different men. It's important to read these things, man. And these men are the elect men of the Most High, right? So you have to follow their footsteps and you have to analyze and look at what they did. And you have to ask yourself, am I doing that? Right? Let me get this verse and select the sixth chapter, right? Ecclesiasticus, the sixth chapter. And then I'm going to go back to that. This Ecclesiasticus. And you got to learn like we read first Esdras. That's an example of what not to be like. So as we read that, a brother should be asking himself in all honesty, do I move like that? Right? Do I allow myself to be weak and I compromise my own integrity over women? This is Sirach chapter 4 and verse number 32. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. So brothers have to apply their mind as men. Don't just be a brother that watches the videos or you just read to say you read. Right, you have to start applying your mind, meaning the things that you have heard, you have to live it. Right? It's applicable. It's able to be practiced. It's able to be done in the real world. This terrestrial realm that the Most High put us in. Brothers have to apply the things that are coming out, right? Through examination. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. And if thou bow thine ear, thou shalt be wise. Stand in the multitude of the elders and cleave unto him that is wise. If you have ancient men around you in this truth, or even you have brothers that may not be in the truth that are older, a lot of times when you're around older people, you become older. They say you have an old soul, or your demeanor is a little bit different, your mannerisms are a little bit different. You accelerate, or rather, you accelerate in maturity because you're around mature individuals. If you're a brother and you're around immature people, then you're going to take on that spirit. So it's important for maturity to mark the perfect man, or see brothers or elders rather, right? And see the spirits that they have and literally be around them, man. Look at how they sit, man. See how they talk, right? Are they drunk and falling over? Do they have composure when they drink? When they eat? Do they have integrity? What are they talking about? Are they serious? Or are they all full of folly and mirth? So you have to be around elders too, and be around, even if you may not have the opportunity to be around physical elders in this truth, you may have more seasoned brothers or elder brothers around the truth that you may cleave to or even be around. I know brothers was like that even growing up, man. You had your uncles, or you had your pops and his brothers and his friends, and brothers was always around, man. Trying to get a conversation, hear what they talking about. You get dismissed out the room, you try to cleave back in. What's going on? They say, get me a beer. You get them a beer. You kind of sitting around trying to figure out what they doing. Now, was it righteous? What they was doing? More than likely not. Well, it wasn't. Right? But, Jake got that spirit, or you share that spirit when you want to be around mature men. Don't be the brother you're on Call of Duty all day playing with eight-year-old Edomite boys. Right? That just call you nigger and you say, hi, I know you're a nigger. And you just, getting abused. The Lord said, stand in the multitude of elders. And even our fathers are elders in the Bible. So you always have access to hoary head men. Jeremiah, right? Moses, Elijah, right? You have, Peter and Paul and James, These are the elders you can stand in a multitude of as you read, and you cleave unto them. Verse 35, be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. Right? So it might be a feast day going on, and you got the older brothers that kind of maybe they doing their thing. Hey, you a young man, or even you feel like you're young in the spirit, go kick it with those brothers, man. Stop being the brother in the at the feast day playing goddamn Uno all day, man.
Candy
What?
Crush.
You said what?
Candy Crush.
Yeah, Candy Crush on your phone. You know, you playing Uno with everybody's 3-year-old and 4-year-old son. You just want to play around with the 3-year-olds and the 8-year-olds. You're going to get a bad name, right? You're going to get a real bad name. People are going to be watching you. Get up, brother, and go out there, man. I'm shy. And that shyness will overthrow you. Even if you sit down, you don't even got to say nothing, man. See, the Most High said, let me get one more precept in Sirach 32. Right? So our fathers, they learned of their fathers. There's a precept on that. Most High willing I could find it. They learned of their fathers. This is Sirach 32 and verse number 7. Speak, young man, if there be need of thee, and yet scarcely, when thou art twice asked. So you're around older brothers, seasoned men in the truth, right? And you don't run your mouth, right? You don't got to tell all your war stories and what you got going on. And hey, the Lord said, kind of hold your tongue. If somebody asks you something, say what you got to say, but don't run your mouth, right? Get straight to the point. The Lord said, let thy speech be short, comprehending much and few words, be as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue. See, the precepts also say, in I believe Wisdom of Solomon, the 8th chapter, that men that have wisdom, they will have honor amongst the elders, though they be young. And that's a beautiful spirit to have, where you can fit right in. It's young brothers like that. I know brothers like that. They can fit right in with older brothers or older men, 50s, 60s. And they just fit right in. Right? That's a beautiful spirit to have. And the old men don't look twice at them. It reads, if thou be among great men, make not thyself equal with them. And when ancient men are in place, use not many words. Before thunder goeth lightning, and before a shamefaced man shall go favor. Right? So men are shamefaced, they have honor, and they also know when it comes to being mature, when it comes to being a man, you have notable examples. And the Bible really teaches how to mark men, see what they say, what they do. You may pick up on good habits, eat the meat, cast out the bones, and then you begin to develop yourself based off of what you have seen. And you apply those great traits to yourself, and you'll grow in maturity and as a man of the Lord. What you got it, King?
Kind of that the verse you was looking for was in Sirach, the 8th chapter.
Okay, Con. Get that real quick. The water, all praise.
All praise.
So 8 and 9, or 8 and 8. It reads, despise not the discourse of the wise, but acquaint thyself with their proverbs, for of them thou shalt learn instruction, and how to serve great men with ease. Miss not the discourse of the elders, for they also learned of their fathers, and of them thou shalt learn understanding, and give answer when need requireth. And like I was saying, it's a beautiful spirit to be around elders, be around learned men, older men, kind of sneak your way in the conversation, but you're not saying nothing. You kind of take 2 steps up and kind of overhearing what's going on. Don't miss that stuff, man. All right, it might be going into all types of situations, real life events, relationships, heartbreak, heartaches, a come up, an opportunity, right? A parable, a breakdown, it's something that they went through in the ancient times, or in their youth rather. And you kind of pick up those things, man, and you apply those things to yourself, right? And that's how you grow as well, through learning and through observation. And you apply your mind to it, and that becomes part of you, right? But you got it. So like one more point, a lot of brothers that are mature, a lot of them is, they may have got this from their uncle, or this from their father, or this from their grandfather, or this from their older brother. They pick up a lot along with the spirit that the Most High gave them. and it's truth, and they develop at a faster rate. But you got it, King.
Con. And that's why like the brother said, when we was younger, we always wanted to be around the older kids, man, because you see the experience that they got, and you like, man, that's beautiful.
Right.
You may not say it out loud, but they better at basketball, they run faster, they jump higher, they can wheelie their bikes, right? And you like, well, I want to learn how to do that. So you go into the same direction that they going in, so you can catch up to them quickly, right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 37 and 37, right? And it's good to be around, men of understanding and older men, right? Because they've been through so much in their life that you can learn from that and apply, like the scriptures, the lessons that they had to go through and the hardships to avoid it. Right? That's the purpose of being around learned men. Right? This is Psalms 37 and 37. Mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace, but the transgressor shall be destroyed together, the end of the wicked shall be cut off. Right? So we're supposed to be marking the perfect man, right? Seeing that man who to hold their household up with two hands, right? An example to the congregation, right? Moving in the way they ought to move, right? That's why it's wise to be around such men. That's why the Lord said, can two walk together except they be agreed? Because somewhere you're going to get misconstrued, right? Somewhere it's going to be like, something ain't right, and you're going to want to move. Or in that time, you'll be like, man, this is beautiful right here, right? This is who I want to emulate and be like. And then you're going to move in that manner, man. That's how it's supposed to be, right? Even Yahushua was in the temple with the elder men going over doctrine, right? Having his parents worried. Man, let's get there in Luke, the second chapter, right? I think we can, 41, right? Luke 2 and 41. Well, I'm going to start at 43. No, where do I want to start at? Yeah, I'm gonna start at 43. And when they had fulfilled the days, they returned. Right, they went back to Jerusalem to keep the feast. Right, they went to keep Passover as commanded. Right, and when they had fulfilled the days, as they returned, the child Yahushua tarried behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother Mary, or don't say Mary, and his mother knew not of it. Right, so they're coming back, leaving from Jerusalem, and they think he right there along with them. Right, it's like you in the grocery store. You hit the corner and your kid's not right there next to you. You're gonna start to panic. Heart gonna be beating off fast. You're gonna be sweating. Right? You're gonna be running like a track star trying to find your child. But they supposed him to have been in the company when a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinsfolk and acquaintance. Right? They was on the move. They was like, look, we gotta get back. They probably had stuff they had to do. Man, they went a day's journey and didn't even realize. Right? And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. Right? And that's how you have to be. Right? You have to have the spirit of Yahushua, hearing what's going on, asking questions, observing the doctrine. Like the brother said, when you first come into the truth and you happen to be amongst elders, your mouth should be shut and you just listen. Right? Hearing the discourse, hearing the conversation, right? Garnering how you're going to move when you become of sound speech, when you become of age in the truth. And all that heard him was astonished at his understanding and answers, right? And you want people to feel the same way about you, right? They didn't want to hear Bobo the fool when they ask you a question, right? They ask you, what do you think about Acts, the fourth chapter? Oh, I think Kobe Bryant's jump shot was better than Michael Jordan's. Right, man? They damn start throwing tables at the feast day. Right? All you have is worldly knowledge. No, you need to sit down, be quiet, and listen. right? It ain't always time to laugh and joke, right? It ain't always time to giggle and hee, especially if you're not equipped to where you need to be, right? Sometimes it's okay to shut the hell up, right? They say the Lord gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as hard as you speak, right? He was sitting in the temple, both hearing them and asking them questions, right? So to ask questions, you got to hear the whole conversation to be able to ask it, right? It takes a mature man to know that you don't need to speak all the time. You don't always have to be heard, right? You don't always have to put your 2 cents in when you barely have 3 cents in your pocket, right? Sit down, be humble, listen, garner information, right? Even take your phone out, jot down some notes and precepts, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? To be a great leader, you also have to learn to be a great follower at first, right? A great follower of our forefathers, right? Our righteous forefathers, right? A great follower of the schoolmaster, which is the law, right? These things are laid forth to make us perfect in the sight of the Lord. And the more you think, yeah, I don't need this, I don't need that, the sooner it's going to show that you really weren't obtaining that oil. And you were really just a foolish virgin that was disguised to be wise. Right, but you got it, King.
That's right, man. Yeah, you don't want to be a foolish virgin losing your oil in the last days, man. Right? I want to get this in Song of Solomon, right? The 8th chapter. I want to get this to kind of add to what we're going into about development and growth, you know? This is Song of Solomon chapter 8 and verse 8. This is a dark saying, but it's talking about you being in the truth, right? And how our forefathers grow and develop in this truth. All right, this Song of Solomon 8 and 8, we have a little sister, and she hath no breast. What shall we do for our sister in the day when she shall be spoken for? So the little sister represents our people who don't have the truth, right? They're not developed. They are immature. They have no breast on a parabolic level. They don't know the nationality, the name of Yahweh, Bashmi Abushai. They may not know the laws, the statutes, the commandments, the faith. So they're in a state where they're not ready for the wedding, right? That's what this means. What shall we do for our sister in the day when she shall be spoken for? The day that she's spoken for is the day that the father gives her over in marriage, right? So the question is, how can we get this individual to be on a level where she's ready for marriage? How do you see your people in a state where they're deprived of knowledge and build them up to where they're ready to be beamed up in a chariot? That's what it's going into. Verse 9. If she be a wall, we will build upon her a palace of silver. And if she be a door, we will enclose her with boards of cedar. So we want to build our people up, right? And it's a step-by-step thing, man. You might just be a wall, right? You might just be on one particular level, but now as you grow, you're looking on how can you build, right? There's a lot of precepts we brought up. We're all still growing. Every brother, there's no brother that knows he's Israel that's a Yahweh Shah or a doppelganger of the Lord, right? There's nobody that's walking around that's Yahweh Shah or Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they know who they are. And no, every brother's building upon themselves day by day. See, the scripture, I'm going to go back to that. The scripture said in Ephesians, get this in Ephesians, the 4th chapter. Let me get straight to the point. Ephesians 4 and 11. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers. So all of the Israelites in the truth have these men around them. Some men that are learning, you're being taught by evangelists. Some men in the truth, you're being taught by apostles. Some men are being taught by prophets. Some men are being taught by teachers on different levels, right? Different environments. Why did the Most High disperse these men out to the church in the last days? It tells you in the next verse. For the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Hamashiach. So all those men are out there to build up, right? To perfect the body of Yahweh Shah. The word edify, I want to get this word right? This word edify, the etymology of it. Let me see, edify, right? Edify originates from the 14th century Middle English edifian, meaning to build, to instruct, derived from the Latin edificare, to build, to construct. It combines ides, which is temple or house, and facere, which means to make, right? The term evolved from physically constructing buildings to figuratively building up someone's faith, character, or intellect. So when you're edifying someone, you're maturing, you're helping them mature, you're helping them build and learn where they need to develop. Maybe you need to be more mature how you handle your money. Maybe you need to be more mature in your sense of honor and having a great name. Maybe you give yourself over to woman, right? You and us, we're all looking to be edified, right, through the precepts, and we're building upon the things that are lacking or the things that already may be there to strengthen them, right? So these men in Ephesians 4 are for the edifying of the body of Yahweh Shai, right? To take us from here and put us up here so we can be ready for the marriage. Verse 13, Ephesians 4 and 13. Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. So imagine the church is a little kid and they've been sent apostles and prophets, and those men are teaching them until the church grows and grows and grows and is on a level and a fullness of Yahweh Shai, ready for the marriage as a bride, right? So our job is to increase the stature of the body. And if you're part of the body, you should be asking yourself, are you increasing in stature, right? Are you developing? Are you growing in character, maturity, responsible? Are you learning how to, we did a lesson last week by the Spirit of the Most High, being a better father, husband, and brother, right? This lesson, we're going into immaturity and irresponsibility and growing, right? You have to grow. We all have to grow, right? And that's what Song of Solomon is talking about. I'm going to read this again in Song of Solomon 8 and 9. If she be a wall, we will build upon her a palace of silver, meaning we're going to edify her. And if she be a door, we will enclose her with boards of cedar. We're going to seal her up. So there's no breaches, no gaps, no occasion for the adversary to come in. I am a wall, and my breasts like towers. Then was I in his eyes as one that found favor. So the elect lady, she said, I'm a wall, and my breasts are like towers. I'm grown, I'm mature, I'm ready for the wedding. I'm ready for my bride, the bridegroom, Yahweh Shah. Right? This is the level we want to be on. Right? You want to be a wall, and parabolically, metaphorically, you want your breasts to be like towers. Right? You know how to handle yourself as a man, as a father, as a brother, as a priest. We talked about even being you're an apothecary for your household. You can deal with adversity. You can deal with hardships. You have temperance. And when you have all of that, the Most High said, then was I in his eyes as one that found favor. So the Lord loves, when you're mature, you have favor from the Most High. When you increase in stature to be on the level, to strive to be to the level of Yahweh Shai, that's when the Most High has favor on you. The Most High does not have favor on somebody with no breast, right? Somebody that is immature, right? Somebody that's like these, you know who has favor on people with no breast? Epstein, child molesters, creeps, weirdos that prey on the innocent and the unlearned and the naive and the simple. The Most High, Yahweh Shai, Shai, they want a mature church, right? So all of us were part of the church, and we want favor from the Most High, so we have to edify and build upon the things that are lacking, right? But you got it, King.
Quick precept off of that. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 3, verse number 6.
Oh, shoot. I put 2. Con.
Well, I'll start at 5, or I'll start at 4. For while one saith, I am Paul, and another, I am of Apollos, are ye not carnal? Who then is Paul? Who then is Apollos? But ministers by whom you believe, even as the Lord gave to every man. Right? So you have to be a minister. Right? Can we get the etymology of the word minister?
Oh,
And a minister isn't somebody who just talks a sermon, they walk it too.
right.
Right? Minister originates from the Latin minister, a servant, attendant, priest assistant, which is derived from minus less, the comparative suffix ter, as word indicating inferior or subordination, literally one who serves. So to be a minister, you have to be one who serves, right? And how do you serve? You go back to what the brother said, right? You see those without and you build them up, right? Minister isn't somebody who's just over top and just looking down pointing. No, a minister is somebody who help lifts up. So it's your job to help lift up those who need to be lifted up,
Right.
right? Those who need to be put up on a pedestal to the point where they can stand upon their own feet. Well, not a pedestal, a crutch, I should say, right? Lifted up to the crutch, right? One who serves opposite of magister or master. It originally served or referred to a servant, later evolving into religious priest assistant and civic roles, right? So literally a minister is one who serves, right? And that's how you have to be. You have to be a servant, meaning always on your P's and Q's, always making sure you're doing what you ought to do, always making sure that you're being a righteous example of Yahweh Shem Yahushai to those who are with and those who are without. Right? You can't be a minister and be out in clubs, be out at the bar every night, spending a $600 tab, right? Giving everybody in their shots. No, a minister is somebody who's not seen out in the world often, but seen where there's people who need help, seen where there's people who need a handout. Right? A minister is somebody who gives alms. Right? Can we go back to that, King? Baba Shah?
Huh.
Oh, and it also said to serve and to wait upon. Right? Latin origin, to serve and wait upon.
Huh.
So we're supposed to be a servant to those who need the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right? He said the watchman smoked me when I walked upon the city.
Right.
Right? They was waiting for somebody to get the word. They was waiting for somebody to say, you know what? That's a righteous brother. That's a brother who I need to listen to. Right? That's a brother who can help me on my path. We always hear that when we at camp. Man, I was looking up something and, I came here for a reason. Right? Something had me stop. Right? First and foremost, it was the steps of the Most High. And secondly, is because brothers was ministering. They was waiting for you to come upon so they can show you in the way that you should go, like somebody showed us the way that we should go. Right? We can go back to First Corinthians.
Huh.
Baba Gashab. Right? Even as the Lord gave to every man, I have planted, Apollos watered, but Yahweh gave the increase. Right? So it's our job to plant the seeds, and it's another person's job. They may water that seed that was planted. Right? I may give you the foundation. The brother may give you a little more on that foundation, but the Most High is the one who gives the increase. The Most High is the one who says, you know what? This seed right here is worthy to grow up and produce fruit. Right? Or the Most High can say this seed right here is to be plucked up by the fowls of the air. Or it's choked out because of the cares of the world. Right? But we have to be planting at all times. Right? And we have to make sure that we're counting the cost. Right? We can go to Luke chapter 14 and 27 about Yeshua.
Huh.
Right? You got to be counting the cost of being a man in this truth. You have to be counting the cost of being a woman in this truth. Right? Are you really sitting down and examining all that you do and making sure that you're able to withhold? Are you making sure you're able to finish? Are you making sure you're able to gaze upon what you're building at and not shake your head, but be proud of what you're doing? Right? You got carpenters in the world. These houses out here now, they garbage, man. They make them out of cardboard.
Right.
Right? And the contractor's probably looking up at it like, man, this is terrible. Right? The wood is cheap. The nails are cheap. Right? They got paper that go around it. I forgot what the paper's called. They go around the house.
Right.
Right? All that is cheap. Or you're going to be that carpenter that looks up and says, man, this is probably one of my finest works. Right? I can't believe I built this. And that's how you should be when you look at yourself in this truth. I can't believe I got built up to be the person that I am. You shouldn't look in the mirror and say, damn, what happened to me? Right? I wasn't this person before. Right? Those seven other unclean spirits more wicked than them coming upon that empty vessel. If you can't look at yourself and say, I'm proud through the spirit of Yahweh Shemi Shai of what I have built. But there's still more building to do. Right? This is Luke 14:27. And whosoever doeth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Right? So you men who don't want to take responsibility, right? You men who don't want to step up and do what you have to do, right? And you just outright soft, man. Right? You just a soft brother, right? Because you don't have the ability to carry your cross. You can't be a disciple of the Lord. Right? That goes into what's that? 1 Timothy 5:8. If you don't, provide for those of your household, you worse than an infidel. You worse than a non-believer. Right? God. 1 Timothy 5:8. But if any provide not for his own, especially for those of his own household, right? And it said provide not for his own, that's going into your nation too. How do you provide for your nation? By not being out here acting like a heathen, right? Keeping your body in subjection, not following every wind of doctrine, right? First you believed the Gentiles can be saved. Now you can eat whatever you want on Passover. Now the name of the Lord don't matter. That's how you provide for your own. Let no man take your crown. Being steadfast in your knowledge, confirming the knowledge that the Most High has given you. Right? It's especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Right? So always say it's not I. Yes, Israel starts with I, but it's us. We have to provide for our own. We have to bring something as an offering to the Lord. You can't just bring it and say, this is just for the house of Amos, right? Forget the house of Naquam. No, the sacrifices you bring is to make sure that you're holding yourself to a certain standard, right? That you holding yourself to a certain standard, right? And your kids are being brought up to a certain standard so they don't defile this brother's house or his children don't defile the next brother's house. That's how you provide for your own, right? Can we go back to Luke Baba Kashan? So if you're not bearing that cross, you are not fit to be the disciple of the Lord, right? No weak men in Israel, man.
Right.
No traitors in Israel. No, man, it's a lot of words you can use, right?
Yeah.
But no effeminate men. We'll use that lightly. Take it as you will with it, right? For which of you intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cause whether he has sufficient to finish, right? Going back to be a builder, right? You make sure you have enough lumber, tools, equipment, right? You make sure you got enough to finish it, right? Do you understand this? Do you understand that? Are you still plagued with this demon? How did you get rid of that demon? And how are you going to get rid of this demon to make sure things are sufficient to finish? Right, verse 29. At least happily, after he have laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all that behold it begin to mock him. Right? And that's for brothers who are just finding out, or sisters who are just finding out, right? You're laying that foundation. You're not doing the same things you used to. But if you entertain that folly, right, those people are gonna mock you. They're gonna laugh at you. Man, I told you this was a phase. Man, come roll this blunt up like you used to. right? I told you that this wasn't the truth. Drink this whole fifth to yourself. We're gonna go over there with Shanae and whoever, right? Verse 30 saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish, right? Don't be the man, don't be the woman, don't be the household that began to build and was not able to finish because you didn't count the cost, because you didn't take the time to examine, because you wasn't wise enough and prudent enough to see, right? And a lot of one more point before I pass it, a lot of building companies, they'll borrow from other building companies. So you should be able to know what you like and pinpoint a brother through the spirit who can help you finish what you're trying to build. Well, I can't remember the name. I would go to these building companies and they would say, well, we're taking this lumber from so-and-so constructions because they have a abundance of it.
Right.
And we're gonna pay them on the back end after we finish. That's how you should be. You should see who has abundance of what you're lacking and ask them to help you. Right? Don't let the pride overthrow your judgment. Right, but you got it, King.
Yeah, that's a spirit that made me think of how Solomon and David dealt with Hiram of Tyre to get the temple of the Lord built. They had to reach out, and get that lumber and get all of that timber, and them stones to get the house of the Lord built, man. I want to add to what you were saying. I want to go to that made me think of Tobit, man. Right? See, counting the cost. Tobit is a beautiful example of counting the cost. He's one of those fathers that you read about that was old and full of days. And he gave up the ghost and his integrity, man. And he went through a lot. Tobit went through hell. Now, I'm not gonna read this whole account, but this is let's see. Let's read Tobit. It's a beautiful book, man. Tobit is a beautiful book. All right, this Tobit chapter 1, and I'm gonna read verse number 19. Actually, I'm gonna jump up a little bit, Salakia. This Tobit 1 and 10. And when we were carried away captives to Nineveh, all my brethren and those that were of my kindred did eat of the bread of the Gentiles, right? They was eating food sacrificed to idols. But I kept myself from eating because I remembered God with all my heart. And the Most High gave me grace before Enemessar or Enemessar, so that I was his purveyor. He was like a purveyor, somebody that buys things, right? That deals with purchasing and goods. Right, let me get that definition. Right. See, that's not what I want. Purveyor. Give me a restaurant. Let me see definition. See, they going off. Purveyor definition. Okay, purveyor is a person, business, or entity that supplies, sells, or provides specific goods or services, focusing on food, provisions, and specialized items. Right. So he worked in a supply chain, right, if you will. He dealt with buying goods and selling goods and making sure that the king's household had food, they had furniture, they had utensils, they had enough, beds. He was working with the king, man, the top man. He was a trader, a retailer, a merchant, a vendor. He was a businessman. Hey, our forefathers had, they were taking care of the households, man. Every forefather wasn't working in the vineyard. Doesn't mean that you can't work in the vineyard, but he was a purveyor. Right? Look at the ceiling of these men. Daniel was the third president, or he was the first president amongst the three presidents. And he made sure that the king didn't have any damage, that all his money was tight. Joseph, he was second in command of the Pharaoh. Mordecai had a similar title. Right. So Tobit, he was the Most High put a spirit on him. He was able to provide for his household. Right. It reads, and I went into this Tobit 1:14. And I went into Media and left in trust with Gabael, the brother of Gabrias at Rages, a city of Media, 10 talents of silver. Right. And I'm gonna jump down because it's a lot. Salaki, bear with me. This is verse 18. And if King Sennacherib had slain any, When he was come and fled from Judea, I buried them privately, for in his wrath he killed many. But the bodies were not found when they were sought for of the king. So the king wanted to use the bodies and probably put them on a impale them or make an example of a rebel and what happens to you if you defy the king. But Tobit was burying all of the bodies. That was capital punishment. If he got caught burying those bodies, he would get put to death. But it was honorable to give an Israelite a burial, so he went above and beyond to bury the saints. Verse 19. And when one of the Ninevites went and complained of me to the king that I buried them, and I hid myself, understanding that I was sought for to be put to death, I withdrew myself for fear. And Tobit didn't let his occupation as a purveyor get in the way of him being righteous. Right? That's having integrity. Let's read on. Then all my goods were forcibly taken away. Neither was there anything left me besides my wife Anna and my son Tobias. Can you imagine that? All right, you got this top end job, you're a purveyor, you up there, you do righteousness, you loving your nation, and then all of a sudden, all your goods get forcibly taken away. Imagine somebody kicking the door down to your house right now, robbing you empty. Your house look like the last episode of Fresh Prince, man. Everything's gone. So he was catching hell, right? Tobit was catching hell, right? And I'm going to go to the second chapter real quick. This Tobit, it's like in the second chapter, right? This Tobit chapter 2 and verse number 10. And I knew not that there were sparrows in the wall, and mine eyes being opened, the sparrows muted warm dung into mine eyes, and a whiteness came in my eyes. And I went to the physicians, but they helped me not. Moreover, Achiacharis did nourish me until I went to Elemaeus, and my wife Anna did take woman's work to do. Right? So he was blind, he got robbed, all his wealth was taken away, all his riches. And the point is, we're not going to read the whole book of Tobit right now, but he still served the Most High, man. And his woman stepped up. He set his household up where he allowed his woman to do work to help him out financially. Right? So their household wasn't overthrown. That was wisdom and prudence. So being a man is dealing with adversity, man. Dealing with the hardships, still trusting in the Most High, still serving the Most High. Like Amos, you were saying earlier, a lot of brothers, you're going to catch hell. You might be behind financially. You might get jammed up at your job. Things can happen, but it's about how you respond, right? Real men respond to adversity by keeping the faith, right? And resorting to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? Being a man is very mental, man. It's very cerebral, if you will, right? How you deal with adversity, how you compartmentalize, how you have to focus. You know, you got to lock in. You have to balance multiple things. And Tobit is a beautiful example of a father and a husband that caught hell and still remained there with his woman and his son. And through the spirit of the Most High, he remained faithful to the day of his death, man. So brothers, be like Tobit, be like these fathers, be like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. These are men. Tobit is a beautiful example of integrity. He gave to the poor, you know, he buried his people, he prophesied, right? So again, this is just a beautiful example about integrity, maturity, and being a man, even though adversity may come, right? But you got it, King.
Con. I got one last verse. Micah chapter 6. And we can start at verse number 7. Right. Or maybe I'll start at 6. Right. So, like the brother said, it's mind over matter when it's dealing with adversity as a man. Right. It's girding your loins up spiritually and doing what you got to do. Right. Things ain't gonna be perfect. This wouldn't make it captivity if it was. Right. It wouldn't make the kingdom worthwhile happen if you didn't catch hell. Right. So While you had these mishaps or you had these down moments, remember the goodness of the Most High. Remember the mercy of the Most High. Remember how the Most High has shown, beautiful works through our forefathers. And remember that we can go through the same atrocities and hurts and low points, and the Most High can raise us up twice as much, right? So next time it happens, you can laugh at it, right? This is Micah chapter 6:6. Wherewith shall I come before the Lord and bow myself before the high God? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves of a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams or with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doeth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with thy God, right? And the Lord's voice crieth unto the city, and the man of wisdom shall see thy name. Hear ye the rod, and who have appointed it, right? So the Lord showed us what is required to be a man of the Lord, showed us what is required to be accepted of the Most High is to do justly, right? To do justly. Don't be getting any means of financial goods any way possible, boosting and selling drugs and stealing and robbing. No, do it the right way, right? Fast money ain't the best money.
Right.
Fast money's not good money, right? Labor. And if you are an entrepreneur, do it the right way. Right? Don't meet up with Huggy Lowdown in the damn alleyway. He give you a briefcase of money and say, I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Right.
Right? Do it justly and love mercy and walk humbly with thy God. So being humble is key in these last days. Being humble takes a lot to say, damn, I gotta get up and do better.
Right.
Right? I can't keep working at 7-Eleven and expect my family to be comfortable. Right? Being humble is to know sometimes you gotta ask for help.
I was about to say that. That's the spirit. Yep.
Hey, you
Yep.
gotta ask for help. We always tell brothers, look, man, why don't you help this brother get in your job? Right? We tell a brother, yo, go ask him about that job. We post jobs, it's always something that you can do to be an assistant to somebody else. And it's always a humbler way that you can go about something. Don't think too high-minded of yourself, right? Bow your head, ask for help, right? And do things the right way. And the Most High see it and be well pleased, and it'll be accepted in His sight, right? But you got it, King.
And I just want to get one. Well, this is gonna be. You want to do closing precepts?
Oh, if you had one more,
No, I was gonna close out with this.
Con.
You got
I
something
mean,
else?
I can hit my closing precept. And you real quick.
All right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
The second address, chapter 16-74. So Most High willing, it's edifying and everybody's able to examine, chiefly you men, right? Stop moving emotionally. Like I said earlier in this live, men don't have the opportunity to be emotional, right? Men, you move in emotions, you overthrow everything, right? You be outside and somebody do something, they make you mad, and you punch them and you knock them out, and now they dead. Now you sitting behind bars, right? It takes one split second for everything to crumble. So men use reason, use wisdom, be men of understanding, not men of folly and madness, right? Second Esdras chapter 16:74. Hear, O ye my beloved, save the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for Yahweh is your God, and the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, save the Lord God. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. right? You're gonna fall short, right? You're in this corruptible flesh. Don't let your sins separate you from the love of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the love of the congregation, right? Gird up your loins, right? Don't flee in a time of adversity, right? Don't be that brother that runs from the midst of the congregation because you don't like something, because something doesn't make you feel good. So you depart from brothers who laid their life on the line for you. Don't be that brother, man. That's a brother who has a bad name and a brother who is not respected in Israel, man. Stand up with great boldness, man. Be bold for your brethren and your family. Right, verse 77. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns that no man may travel through. It is left undressed and cast into the fire to be consumed. Right? So if you can't shake these things that are holding you down and you just letting it beat you up, you're nothing more than fuel to a fire that's coming to America, that's coming to these captivities that we in. So stand up. Stop being emotional. Show some maturity and show thyself a man. Right with that, I yield.
Come. Well, praise to the Most High. This close out tonight with 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things, man. So again, we're charging brothers, man, to even ourselves, man. Every single man of the Lord, Yahweh Basham Bashar, should be looking at the mirror and ask themselves, what am I lacking as a man of the Most High? Right? Am I immature in this thing? You have different levels of maturity. You have emotional maturity, right? You have, financial maturity, right? You have relationship maturity. There's different levels to it, and all of us through the spirit and power of the Most High should be seeing what we're lacking and put together the necessary steps to elevate and grow. The Most High said, prepare thy work without and make it fit for thyself in the field, and afterward build your house in Proverbs 24 and 27. Right? So now it's time for brothers that have tuned in to take something away that you can practice and grow in this real life, man, amongst your marriage, amongst your household, your children, how you handle things. Are you prudent? All things are up for examination, right? And it's time to put away childish things. So with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Wamalaki Bashad. Most I willing you edified, Brother Naquam.
Brother Amos.
Kwam Yashala. Shalom.